Okay, and I think we should be ready. All right, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. For those who are coming here for the very first time, we'll have a brief announcements. But before we do that, we always have someone doing an opening prayer. And today we will have our sister Gina doing it for us, sister.
Good morning, everyone. Join me in closing your eyes. And as you close your eyes, be aware of your heart, mentors, our loving brother, our Lord Jesus Christ. As we say good morning and being thankful for this day, this blessed opportunity to be together, we ask you, Heavenly Father, to open our heart, our mind, and our consciousness to be aware and learn from the lesson that we have coming before us. May you bless each and every one of us, our homes, our neighborhood, and may you bless our speaker today. And with your loving care, Heavenly Father, we ask that you embrace each of our environments in your loving, illuminating bubbles of love. And bless the opening of our service today in your name. So be it.
So it is. Thank you, sister. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for being here today. For those who are here for the very first time, we are members of the United States Spiritist Federation, and here our beliefs are around scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of Spiritism. But we are a non-denominational organization. So if you have any questions, if there is any doubt in your mind, this is a safe space for you to bring your questions so then we can all learn together, grow together, and discuss it together. You will see that the service is split into two parts. So the first part, we will have someone speaking to us, and I'll introduce him in just 1 minute. But during this part, your participation, your active listening is extremely important because during this process is when your mentor will be working with you for you to download the important messages for you to reflect along the week. So we highly encourage you to take some notes with what is resonating the most with you so then you can, as I said, reflect and work on your inner transformation. And then the second part, we have a hands-on healing where the mediums of Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center will be working with the mentors to support you to receive the spiritual and the physical assistance as needed. So make sure you have a bottle of water and that will be magnetized for you to drink it and keep receiving all the blessings. Now, I think that I mentioned that today we have a couple of important announcements, and you can always check all the announcements at bshcenter.org and in at the page events or meetings and events, you will find everything that I will share here with you. So these are all the opportunities that we have to be together along the week. So on Sundays we have the service, as I said, from 10 to 11:30-ish with educational presentation and the healing passes. And we also have daily prayers. So at 6 p.m. Pacific time, you can connect with this group where we are all going to pray for ourselves and for the entire world. It usually takes 15-20 minutes. Everybody's welcome to join us. We also offer fraternal counseling. This one is a by appointment only, and of course, this is individual. So just make sure, usually we do this on Wednesdays from 4 to 7 p.m. But if that's not the best time for you, do let us know at info. You can send an email for info@bshcenter.org, or you can connect to any of us, and we will make sure to assign a meeting to talk to you, and we are here for you. You don't have to go through anything by yourself. We can pray together, we can stay together, and I will go in a minute at the members meeting if you are reading that bottom update. But we do have new book study groups All the book studies start right after daily prayer, so usually at 6:30 p.m. and it takes approximately 1 hour. On Sundays, we recently started the book Liberation. On Tuesday, we have a new book starting in 4th of August, Memories of a Suicide. And this one will be done in collaboration with the Divine Light Spiritist group, but you can use the same Zoom link. On Wednesdays, we continue with the book Paul and Stephen, and then on Thursday, this week we are starting also a new book, Living Spring, also in the same Zoom link. So everybody's welcome to join us. On Mondays, we have mediumship services. This one is closed only for those who have already done the introduction to Spiritism and had gone through some understanding, and it was invited for this educational part of the mediumship in the first hour. And then in the second hour, it's not open for the public. Are only for the mediums workers, and this offers healing services. So if you or anyone you know is in need of physical or spiritual healing, do let us know. And then during this time, 7:30 8 p.m. ish on Pacific time, to make sure that you're reading the gospel, that you're meditating, you're just in tune with your higher self, so then you can receive the healing that you're asking for. Usually this takes 4 weeks of treatment, and we are happy to support you all. And then you will see here that we will have a members meeting on June 28th, in just a couple of weeks before the service. So around 9 a.m., we will start a meeting. This is long overdue. But finally, we are ready for us to get together, and we will do a financial review and we'll do some administrative updates. So all the members are welcome to join us. If you're not sure if you're a member, if you're not sure if you want to be a member, do come, and we will be happy for us to talk together and discuss our roles, how we can all support each other and keep supporting the study and the growth of the Spiritism initiative in US, especially here in California. So please join us, and we'll be happy to go over all your questions. And by the way, if you have any specific topic that you would like to bring for discussion, do send me, Regina, or Tanya, or Mark a message, and we will make sure to include that in our agenda, or at least have the topic addressed anyhow. All right. So today we have the honor to have our dear brother Yuri with us. I am personally a big fan of him, and we are so happy that we were able to have him today, and he will be talking to us about a very important topic, the value of time. And if you have not met Yuri before, he has a doctoral degree in clinical psychology, is licensed in Florida, and specialized in the treatment of severe and persistent mental illness in adolescents and adults. He has been residing in Florida since 2013, is married, and has 2 sons. Yuri has been involved in Spiritism since an early age and started giving lectures in 2012. He's a volunteer at Conscious Living Spiritist group in North Miami, Florida, and we have adopted him as an integral part of BSH. So help me to give him a very warm welcome, and thank you so much for being here, brother.
And he is the director of marketing of the Spiritist Federation. I'm so glad you are there. Thanks so much for doing this service, for a very important service for us in the USA.
Yes, thank you for the disseminating the spiritism. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Here is good afternoon. So good afternoon, good morning. Um, it's always. I mean, I feel adopted. I feel like I'm part of this group already. So it's not an adoption. It's more like I joined, and you guys are you guys are amazing. I really like being with everyone here, and I couldn't do it in May, so I'm glad we're able to reschedule and be able to do a talk here for BSH. And let me share my screen as usual. I like to bring something visual for us to follow along. So I'm gonna I'm gonna show you. Let me see if you can. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see the cover, the value of time?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, so it's a very interesting topic, and we're gonna see how Spiritism sort of aligns with this topic. But the idea is that we're going to be talking about the value of time, as the title says. And first, I wanted to just mention or briefly allude to how we actually think about time. It's not a new concept in terms of, human evolution, in terms of our curiosity. We as a human race have always been interested in time and the passage of time and the measurement of time. So much so that with the ancient Greeks, we have two different concepts of time that I think it's very interesting. Number one is the chronos, which is the one on the left, which is this, bearded, strong old man with a scythe. And it's something it's time that is more measurable. It's time that doesn't come back. Like, it's time that is very much, it's something that is, you cannot move, you cannot change, you can't do anything. It's like the measurement of time, with which is the one that we have nowadays with hours and minutes, the chronological order. The word chrono comes from chronos, which was how they viewed time. But the ancient Greeks, and this is interesting, not everybody knows this, they had a different view of time as well, in the sense that they believed in kairos. Well, kairos is the one on the right, and kairos was this different concept of time that they had, in which it was not necessarily the time that is measured or time that is as rigid in a way as chronos, but with kairos, it was always depicted as this usually youngish, sort of look like god or version of time, that had this hair, this very interesting hairdo there, where he has hair on the forehead, but he doesn't have hair on the back, and he was always like naked and very fast. So he had wings, and this was their idea of opportunity. So in terms of time, the difference between time that is measured and time as in opportunity, in the sense that once kairos came at you, he always came from the front, but once he passed you, he had no clothes, no hair, no nothing that you could grab onto. Meaning, once an opportunity comes, you may not ever have it again. And I think that already connects very well, interestingly, with a lot of the concepts that we talk about in Spiritism, and about seizing all the opportunities, seizing the time that we have. So just this idea of chronos and kairos being this notion of the time in sense of like the opportunity that comes, and then it just passes. Once you have to grab it from the front, you have to grab it when it's coming at you, because once it passes, you cannot hold on to that opportunity anymore. Another interesting thing that I wanted to bring to this, not necessarily related with Spiritism, but for us to think about, is this: they have this video a couple of years ago that they put on YouTube. I'm not going to bring up the video because Zoom always has a way of messing these things up. But I'm going to invite you guys to check it out. It's called To Scale and then Time. So this is a channel that tries to scale everything, and they're going to try to scale time. So they go to the Mojave Desert, and they're going to do literally like a scale of time. So they first start with the universe timeline. So 13.8 billion years old. And that takes about 4.3 miles, and they do like every 10 feet is 20 million years. So you just think about that for a second. Every 10 meters, which is 33 feet, is 20 million years. It takes them 4.3 miles, which is almost 7 kilometers, for those who prefer the metric system, to do the scale of time for the universe. And they go and they spend the entire day doing that scale. So putting a marker for every 33 feet, representing 20 million years. And then it's a beautiful image, because then like we have all drone footage. So it shows from the top and everything. And they do this nice animation of everything that was happening, let's say 5 billion years ago, 1 billion years ago, 100 million years ago, like the creation of life, universe, the planets, Everything is really, really gorgeous and very interesting to see. And it comes to a point where they have the human timeline, which is interesting, because for the whole extension of the time of the universe, the human timeline is that big, is a couple of inches long right there. And the guy is holding like the human timeline with different things that happen as humans, as we know, at least. And it's interesting for us to begin, and I say begin to because we can't yet fully comprehend time, but begin to understand how great these things are, how interesting, how much time everything takes to really, really create itself and develop. And we talk about in Spiritism, as immortal spirits, we have come from a long time, and we're going to continue way after. We say that God is eternal. We are immortal, meaning we had a beginning when we were created by God, but we're going to live as spirits forever. We're immortal. So it's interesting to see all this passage of time, and I definitely encourage people to look at this video online. And again, the name is To Scale Time, and I can put the link afterwards, the direct link to it. So it's very interesting how we become, and the guy even becomes kind of like emotional when he's holding the human timeline and seeing like, wow, how many things have happened before we even came into the picture as we understand ourselves as humans, and how much we still have to go through. It's very touching. It's very interesting. But this goes to show, first of all, when we're talking about the value of time, I think understanding time itself is a very difficult concept, because in an intellectual way, we're not evolved enough to truly grasp everything that entails time. We don't know. If I say something is eternal or that something is immortal, we can't really fathom that. Like we have a very faint understanding, just like my 6-year-old son who does math. For him, it's addition and subtracting. He can do those things, and he's like, oh, is this math? And I can say, yeah, that is math. But in my head, I'm like, well, there's quadratic functions. There's so much more. But for him, that's math. And it's kind of us right now. For time, this is how we understand time. But it's interesting to already start to have this perspective of what is time and how does that apply to me? How can I sort of like use that in my own life? And it's not something new. If we go back 2,000 years ago, which is already hard to imagine, we go to Matthew chapter 25. I'm going to mention the Bible now. And we have that great parable of the talents, where, this master was going to go away, and he would come back, which is a very interesting piece here. And Jesus says that he entrusts his different servants with different quantities of talents. So for one, he gives 5. For one, he gives 2, and for the third one, he gives 1 talent. And it's interesting because Jesus adds to each according to his ability. That's it. So to each of them, he entrusted talents, which in that way, all the way back then, were a measure, like a measure of a monetary measure that of great value, by the way. So the talents were very valuable. So for one, he entrusted 5, the other one 2, and the third one he entrusted 1. He came back, and the servants knew he would come back, and that's also very interesting. And the one, so they had to go and do the accounts, of the talents. And the first one that got 5, he comes, and as we can see in the little depiction there, he come and he returns 10 talents. So the master sort of lent him in a way, or entrusted him with 5 talents. He returned doubled. He returned 10 talents. And his master says, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. So this notion that the master entrusted those talents to the servant, and the servant utilized those 5 talents, and he created 10, so he doubled the talent. Then the second one came. The second one that was entrusted 2 talents came and presented, as we can also see in the picture kind of there, 4 talents. So he also doubled the amount of talents that he was he was responsible for. The master says the same thing, well done, good and faithful servant, etc. And then the third one comes. The third one comes and gives back 1 talent, which was exactly what the master had entrusted him with. So he came and he only gave the 1 talent. And for that, if we think about this now, he's returning what he was entrusted with. If we look at this passage from a materialistic view, or not even a materialistic view, but just a superficial view, there's nothing wrong with that. If I come and I give Kiki like, hey, here's $10 million, I'm gonna go away for 10 years, I'm gonna come back, and I come back, she gives me $10 million again, that's good. She didn't squander it, she didn't spend it. Like, in a very superficial view, that's actually, it's like not a bad thing. But the master was very upset with that servant. He says, you wicked and slothful servant, he became very upset with the servant. The servant was saying, oh, but I buried that talent. Meaning I didn't invest, I didn't use it, and I buried under the ground because I knew you were very, you're very harsh Lord, and I was afraid. So because of the fear, he didn't do anything with the talent. But that's the lesson of this is that that the master was expecting, so the Lord, the master there of the parable, was expecting them to do something with the talent. And if we go to chapter 5 of Matthew, he's going to say, therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar, and there when you're there at the altar, remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you're still together on the way. The connection between these two passages, one from chapter 25 and this one from chapter 5, has to do with making use of what we have, and in this specific talk today, time. The parable of the talents can be translated into, the talents themselves can be translated into many things. One of them is time, because we as incarnated spirits, we have specific time here on this life, on earth, while adopting this body that I'm called Yuri, with this exact body that I have a certain amount of time which is borrowed from God. It is in a way a talent that God has entrusted upon me, saying, here's a body for you, here's a certain amount of years you're gonna have, do the best you can with it. But if I don't do anything, if I either squander that opportunity, the time that I have, or if I don't do anything out of fear and say, yeah, I was given X amount of years and I lived X amount of years, but it was meaningless, it was fruitless, then how have I used that talent? How have I used that concession that God entrusted me with, that concession that God gave to me? And one of the ways we can do is right here on 20 chapters prior, Matthew chapter 5, when he's saying, first, if you're going to go offer anything to God, if you're going to go and do any sort of offering, which in that all the way back then was very common to do physical offerings, money, like animals and things like that. But even nowadays, if we think about, I'm going to go to the Spiritist Center, I'm going to go attend a meeting right now for BSH, and I'm going to do all those things to honor God, to express my adoration for God. But he's saying here, you have something against you, somebody has something against you, and vice versa. Go and reconcile, go and ask for forgiveness. Interestingly, he says, do it while you are still together on the way. Why? We don't know when we're going to be together again. We'll never know. We have such little time here, again, thinking of the scale now, thinking of Chronos, and we have so many few opportunities now, Kairos, that I mentioned, and this is one of those where we're still on the way with, let's say, our adversaries. We're still on the way with those people that we hurt, or those people that have hurt us and have asked for our forgiveness. we need to settle matters before we do anything else, before we try to worship God, before we try to do all these grand gestures and stuff like that. Do it while we're on the way with them. This is what we need to do. This is what Jesus was telling them and us to do, because we don't know when that opportunity is going to come again. Kairos. We don't know how long it's going to be before we are together with those that we are together with right now, be it usually family members. It could be parents, could be children, could be siblings, could be cousins, whoever, grandparents, whoever. But the thing is, if we have anything against anybody and vice versa, if there's anything that we need to reconcile or do, let's do it now. Let's grab Kairos from the front, not wait for it to speed past us, and then we're lost and wondering when Kairos is gonna come again, which is what happens, and is something that we also see in the books by André Luiz, psychographed by Chico Xavier, Life in the Spiritual World, where he we see a lot of these reincarnations, a lot of these the planning for reincarnation, sometimes taking decades, even centuries, to get all those people together under the same roof so they can reconcile. And time is that one of the talents, now going to the parable, one of the talents that we have at our disposal to make the best use of it while we can. Do it while you're still together on the way. We don't know what our paths are going to be and if they're going to cross again and when they're going to cross again. It may be a long, long time before we have that. So that's part of the value of time when we're talking about these things. Well, there's also this other passage that's very interesting when Jesus comes to the house of Lazarus, that famous Lazarus, and Lazarus' sisters, Martha and Maria, and he comes and they invite him to eat at their house and talk about all of the works that they have been doing in their ministry and all of that. So Jesus, this is just a depiction, obviously. Jesus sits down and starts to talk about all those things that they have been doing, all the travels, this and that. Well, while he's talking, Mary, one of Lazarus' sisters, she sits down by his foot, and it's kind of like taken aback in a way, or very much paying attention to what he's saying. Because we can only imagine how Jesus must have been, the magnetism of his eyes, and like how I even lack the words to describe how he must have been to listen to him and see him there. So she was there, just so into that moment, and she was listening to all of the things he was saying, while Martha was taking care of, as you can even see in that image there, Martha was taking care of all these things, like the food, and make sure the table was set and everything on. And what happens was that Martha at some point turns to Jesus, and she's gonna say, Master, send her to help me while I'm here exhausted. And she like, while I'm here exhausted, she's there not helping me prepare the food and all of that. And then Jesus turns to her, and I think Martha was expecting Jesus to say, hey Mary, just your sister needs help, setting the table, like, why don't you go and help her? But he says, and the author that tells us this is Amelia Rodriguez through the hands of Divaldo Franco. Jesus tells her, and this is from the book Preludes to the Divine Kingdom. He says, Martha, Martha. And whenever Jesus said the name twice, you knew that there was something coming. He's like, Martha, Martha, you are troubled with many things, but one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her. Mary, I'm going to repeat, Mary has chosen the best part, which will not be taken away from her. And then he says, bread and clothing the earth gives us. The starry sky is an excellent blanket, and the gentle soil is a sacred granary. The word, however, is the seed of life. Concerns about immediate things characterize the horizontality in which many people get lost, disturbed by the hustle and bustle of the struggle in which they are immersed. You are troubled with many things, but one thing is necessary, and Mary, this is the part that I mentioned, has chosen the good part, which will not be taken away from her. He was alluding to the use of time. If we think about it, Martha was doing the duty as was expected, obviously, to set the table for the guest and an honored guest even, doing all these things at the house that were important, but Mary was the one who chose that time instead of focusing so much on the minutiae of setting a table, of doing all those things. She chose to listen to him. She chose to use her time wisely versus Martha, who was so worried about what he mentions there, the horizontality of life. Think of a horizontal line versus a vertical line. So a horizontality of life, and I think that this is such a deep reflection for us, because we, and each person will answer in their own minds this question. How many times have we lost ourselves in the horizontality of life, meaning paying attention, wasting time with things that truly don't matter, wasting time with things that truly don't have any value necessarily to our lives, that truly don't add anything, with things that, let me spend an extra hour making sure there's no dust on my table here. In the meantime, what could I have done with that hour? Remember, time is something that we can't it's a resource that keeps being utilized. We can't renew it necessarily. So that 1 hour that I lost, I'm giving just an example here. 1 hour that I lost, like cleaning my table, make sure it's perfect and it's dust free, is 1 hour that I lost, that maybe I could have used 10 minutes to just do a good job, like a good enough job, but spend 50 minutes doing something else, reading something interesting, helping somebody else, calling a friend in need. So how many times? That's, again, we're talking about the value of time from a spiritist perspective. How many times have we utilized our precious time with things that don't amount to much? And Mary has chosen the best part. She chose in that moment to be in the company and to listen attentively to Jesus, instead of necessarily saying, oh, this is the bread must be here. No, let me put it another way. In the meantime, not really paying attention to Jesus. We don't know how much time we have here. We don't know how much time we're going to have next time we're also here. We don't know any of that. What we know right now is that we have today. We have right now to make the best of what we can with these talents that were entrusted trusted to us, sorry. On a similar note, perhaps, we have this book by psychograph by Chico Xavier, in which, and I don't think we have this one in English, but I can give the Portuguese version later. But in this book, there's this very interesting story where the spirit author, Humberto de Campos, he comes and he finds this letter. He goes to this house of this person. He finds this letter, and then he starts to read this letter. And this was the letter of a son to his mother. And the son was like, Mom, like, it was so good to see you on your birthday, 78 years old. It's amazing. Not everybody gets to that milestone. I'm so happy for you. And he's like, I'm so happy as well. I know we have had our differences. This is a letter that the person wrote. I'm so happy that we had our differences, and I'm glad as well that we both found Spiritism. But Mom, I don't think you understand charity very well, and I think we have ideas that very much diverge. Again, these are my words. Please, I'm paraphrasing. It's much better than what I'm saying, making it sound right now. But he's like, okay, no, Mom, I think that you're looking at charity in the wrong way. Like, if I go out and there's somebody begging me for money on the streets, I never give them money. I never help anybody with little things. I don't help them at all because I rather not help with the small things. I want to help with the big things. Mom, as you know, he says, I'm 50 years old already. I have accumulated this very large wealth and I have plans to develop 20 different centers that will help people, 20 different places that will help children in need, that will help the old people that are poor in need. And he keeps on their letter, he's saying, but I'm still devising these plans because I don't want anything. Like I don't want any simple thing. I want something grandiose. As you know me, I only need, and he even says an amount. I only need X amount of money, but rest assured that all our coffee plantations are going very well. Our apartments are renting very well. I'm accumulating X amount of money per month, per year, etc. And I'm sure that in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm gonna be able to start all these projects and leave a lasting impact. And he goes on and on and on. He finishes the letter saying, "No, I wanna. I'm very glad to see you. Hope we get to see each other again." But etc. So when he finishes the letter, what happens is, and this is kind of the plot twist here. On that same night that he wrote the letter, he died. So the spirit author is there, and the letter is basically next to the body. And he's reading, and then he's saying, that they see the mom come the next day and arrive at the son's house, who was only 50, but he had a heart attack and he died. And the moral of the story, I guess, for our talk today, is that we truly don't know how much time we have left. And if we try to plan, and try to do all these things that are so grandiose, so important in our eyes, and waiting, let me accumulate this amount of wealth, let me have this amount of time at my disposal, let me do all these big things, we don't know if we're going to have tomorrow to do that. Just like this person called Licinio did. And it was a true story as well. Just like this person, because then death came and took him. And what did he do? What sort of, and it's kind of like what the author is alluding to, what sort of legacy did he leave when he could have left such a beautiful trail of light and legacy with what he already had? He didn't need to wait until he started 20 different housing opportunities. Like he could have started with 1, 2, 3, how many he had availability or the possibility to. And I think it's such a valuable thing for us to think about and think to ourselves, are we waiting too much for the perfect moment? Are we waiting too much for when things become infallible? We may be waiting too much. So here's something for us to think about. And there's also sort of like not this poem, but this message. And I don't know who the author is, but I heard it so many years ago, maybe like, I don't know, 15 years ago, and it always stuck with me. And it's a message in Portuguese where somebody saying, if you want to understand the value of time, and they say the value of, and they're going to give different measurements of time. If they say, if you want to understand the value of 1 year, ask the student who failed a final exam. Or, and I'm adding this one, or a team that lost a yearly championship, a championship that lasts a whole year. Ask a team that lost that. And you're going to understand the value of 1 year. If you understand the value of 1 month, ask a mother that gave birth to a premature baby. The value of 1 week, ask an editor of a weekly magazine. If you understand the value of 1 hour, ask the lovers who are waiting for the moment of their meeting, and there's only 1 hour left between they are together again. Ask for the value and the weight of that 1 hour. If you understand the value of 1 minute, see how it's coming down? If you understand the value of 1 minute, ask the person who missed the train, the bus, or a plane because of 1 minute that they were late. And you're going to understand the value of 1 minute. It's not over yet. If you understand the value of 1 second, ask somebody who survived an accident because of a 1 second decision or a 1 second change in something, and they survived the accident. We always see this in traffic accidents and things like that. If you want to understand the value of 1 millisecond. And some of you may be like, no, there's no 1 millisecond, there's no value. I don't believe in that. It's too little to be important. Yeah? Well, ask these guys. Rio 2016 Olympics, Martin and versus Drysdale. The contest between those two was decided by 0.005 seconds. Meaning one person now has a gold medal in their house and the other one has a silver medal in their house because of 0.005 second difference. And that blows our minds if we think about it. How much value, how much weight, how important and how different, how much of a difference 1 millisecond, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year can make in somebody's life in one way or another. For a short time, and this is a message now by the Spirit Emmanuel, psychographed by Chico in the book Living Spring, where he's going to say such a perception in light, because first he starts saying, oh, if people realized how short are their days on earth, if they could see how precarious are the resources they depend on their vessel, the vessel of the flesh. Like if we could only imagine, he says, such a perception in light of eternity would certainly give us a new concept of the blessed, invaluable, yet short opportunity that has been given to them. Everything benefits or afflicts the human being just for just a short while, for a short time, and this is true. Whatever pain we have, it's gonna pass. Whatever suffering we're going through, it's going to pass. And when we think about the whole, like I said, the whole life of the immortal spirit, what is 1 year of suffering? What is 1 minute of suffering? Carries a big value right now, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna be a grain of sand in a beach that extends for miles and miles and miles. Nevertheless, he says, many people use this tiny fraction of time to complicate their lives for many years. Let's think of what he's saying here. Even though we're only leaving everything for a short period of time, for a short time, many people, us, use a tiny fraction of time, meaning one reincarnation, meaning 10 years in a reincarnation, meaning 10 minutes in a reincarnation, to complicate their lives for many years. How many choices, and let's be even more specific, how many actions are so short in terms of time but have such a big consequence? Pulling the trigger and killing someone, for instance, takes 1 second, but that 1 second complicates for way more than 1 second. So that's why he's saying many people use this tiny fraction of time that we have to complicate ourselves for many years. And he says, my friend, whatever you are, remember that you will be there only for a short time. Right now we're here, we're meeting, we're in the BSH meeting on a Sunday, June 7th. It's only for a short time we're here. We don't know in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years where we're going to be. I hope to be alive. I'm 37. I'll be 87. I hope to get to 100. But I don't know truly if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I really don't know. There's no way to guarantee that. But we're only here for a short time. We have to make use of that time. And he says, for it is how you use the short time that you will determine how you proceed to the long time of either happiness or suffering. Going back to what I mentioned, how am I using the talent that I received? Time is that talent. How am I using the time that I have in my hands? Am I using it to build something meaningful? Am I using it to go after the treasures of heaven or the treasures of earth? Those that will stay behind once I'm gone, once my body is back to where it came from. The same author here, seen in this picture, Emmanuel, the same from this message here, He's going to say, do not let yourself be overcome by the empty hour. A mind without work becomes a dwelling of shadows. An unoccupied house shelters harmful creatures. The time that belongs to you, you can offer in service and help, and the help you give to others is help. Any help you give to others, is help to yourself. Do not disdain time, for time comes from God. It's a small poem translated here, but the idea is, let us not waste our time. Let us understand the value of time and not waste time whatsoever. Not have an unoccupied house, like he's saying there, like our minds, with only filling it with things that don't really matter, that don't really take us anywhere. If you already know how precious the value of time is, respect the time of others. And this is by the Spirit, André Luiz. So that your own hours may be respected. Remember that if you have commitments and obligations based on time, the same is true for other people. No one evolves, prospers, improves, or educates themselves until they learn to use time to proper advantage. Be brief in any request. Whoever has time to talk, I love this one. Whoever has time to talk without necessity could clearly enroll in any school to improve in higher knowledge. If you spend too much time, basically he's saying here, if you're spending too much time with gossiping or like talking about things that matter to no one and will lead to nothing, enroll and try to learn something useful. Work within time, he says, dissolves the weight of any worries. But time without work creates burdens of boredom, always difficult to carry. A common form of unhappiness, of true unhappiness, is having the time to believe oneself unhappy. Look at this. A common form of true unhappiness is having the time, or we can even say spending time with self-pity. So I'm wasting my time thinking how miserable I am, and that leads to unhappiness and leads me to spend even more time in self-pity. If you make use of time to improve yourself, time will make use of you to accomplish wonders. Observe how much can be done in half an hour. Whoever says that times bring only disappointments has done nothing but deceive themselves. It's a very harsh wake-up call from André Luiz here. Who this sounds more like Emmanuel, to be honest, than André Luiz, this message, but it is André Luiz. And he's just saying, how much can be done in half an hour? They mentioned at BSH here the prayers, the group that gets together to pray for 15-20 minutes. It's only 15-20 minutes, but look at the benefits. Look at all the benefits that charitable act does, not only for the people receiving the prayer, but for the people who are also spending their time, using their time, investing their time to pray for others, pray for the world. How much can be accomplished in half an hour? And I love that he says, whoever says that time brings only disappointments has been deceiving themselves, because time does not bring only disappointments. After all, we have what? Free will. We have the capacity to choose at every point in time what we're going to be doing. And remember that the stewards of material wealth, as you guys know, for those who have seen my talks, I like to bring many different sources. This one is from another book and says, remember that the stewards of material wealth, just as much as the victims of earthly deprivation, the wise and the ignorant, the healthy and the sick, the happy and the unhappy, will all stand before the reckoning of infallible justice. We're all going to have to go back to that master of the parable, and he's going to say, what have you done with the talents? What have you done with your time? And keep with you the certainty that the only irreparable affliction is that of wasted time on the human journey. For affections and possessions, opportunities and values, lessons and talents return to our hands in some way through the unending cycles of reincarnation. But the hour once lost is a gift from God that will never return. We may have this unique opportunity here because we do. If we squander that opportunity, it may, like I said, it may be hundreds of years before I get this opportunity again, before Kairos comes again. and I can grab it this time by the hair and make good use of my time. But he's saying the wasted time, it's it. That's the irreparable affliction. That the knowledge that we look back and what have I done with my time? So let us reflect on the justice of time. André Luiz now. This is André Luiz saying, time is a divine value within human experience. Each consciousness shapes its own destiny through it. The time that Christ spent in elevation was exactly the same as same time as the Barabbas spent in wrongdoing. Yeah. The 3 years that Christ spent in his ministry is the same as other people spent in criminal deeds. The only difference between them is that Jesus used his time to magnify goodness, while Barabbas used his time to generate evil. Between the light of one and the shadow of the other, the use of time unfolds along an infinite scale. To improve ourselves or to worsen within it, that is our choice. We have the choice. We have the free will to choose what we're going to be doing with half an hour, what we're going to be doing with 3 years, as it says here, with the years that we have ahead of us. And to end here, there's also this beautiful message that says, time is a loan from God, a miraculous elixir. It soothes all pain. It's an invisible scalpel because it heals all wounds, restoring the tissues of body and soul. With time, we make mistakes. With time, we also make amends because we receive the opportunity to make amends because God is infinitely just, fair, merciful, and loving. In its company, in time's company, we take on serious commitment, and with its support, we repay all our debts. This is from the book Divine Justice by Emmanuel, psychographed by Chico. This idea that time is this loan from God. Everything we have, we owe to God. It's this elixir that soothes the pain, that scalpel that can cure the wound. We make mistakes through time because, yes, we were not created in a state just like Jesus Christ. We're not first order spirits. We're not created like that. We were created the way we were, simple and ignorant, and we're going to make mistakes. That's it, because we're ignorant. Ignorant in the sense of lacking knowledge. Simple because we're indivisible. Only one. Spirit is indivisible. Therefore, we will make mistakes, but with time we can repair them. But it's going to start with us. And what I wanted to bring to us today is this reflection on how are we using our time? How much value are we giving to the time that we have, remembering always that time is the only, wasted time is the only irreparable affliction. Once we wasted the time, that time in that way, that manner, in that very same way is never going to come back. Will never come back. Therefore, we got to make very good use of our time. Surely God will grant you other days and other opportunities for work. But do all the good you can now. For a day like today, you will only have once. And that is the message that I wanted to bring to us all in this blessed Sunday in June. To make very good use of our time, because a day like today, we're only going to have once. Thank you.
Wow, brother, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I remember once someone asked Chico what was one of the hardest thing, and he said that the hardest thing was the regret of the lost time, of the time lost. And I think this is it, like really understanding that this is a bless from God, and what are we doing with that? It's a big reflection. It's a big reflection. Thank you so much. Thank you. And at least for me, one of the things that I always, and we talked about this before, like we keep always, for me, I keep always waiting for, like, oh, I have to wait for these. And then when my daughter is older and when my loan is paid and when this and that, like, what can I do now? It's always a big question. Thank you so much.
Does anyone have questions or comments?
Well, Yuri, you succeeded in making me feel guilty and wasting a minute or two today. Oh my God. I just needed another push. Ah, and there's no denying it, you know what I mean? There's no way to deny when you're not using your time wisely. What can I say? I'm guilty.
I'm guilty too. That's why this is for everyone, I think. So just we can't change what happened already, Regina, right? We can change from now. That's it.
You know, I think what lights me up the most is that, there's always a witness, Well, you can't lie about it, you can't cheat about it. There's always a witness. Invisible or not, there's always a witness. That's it. That's my story I'm sticking to.
I'm part of your group, Regina. So, but anyways, what I wanted, and I loved your talk. It really gives me a booster shot, to keep on going, and even more so. So thank you. And the two things that came up for me was one, the Emmanuel's book, Money, where he talks about the miser who doesn't share their time, which is in a way what you talked about. I just wanted to throw in the word miser because, this chapter is about miserliness, and something we usually don't think about is that we could be miserly with time. And that was one thing. And the other thing was that I remembered was the book, Jesus in Our Home, I think it's called, by Neo Lucio. And there's one chapter, the Divine Talisman, and it goes like the disciples are asking, Master, do you have some kind of a special talisman for, what you all do? And long story short, they're guessing left and right. But the answer is time. Jesus said, yes, I do have a divine talisman, and that is time. So that's, of course, ours too. So thank you so much. I love it, Yuri. Thank you.
And it's always a homework of notes. Talk about guilty. I'm not going there because I found this Korean drama. And sometimes I'm lost in my time with that, like soap operas. From Brazil, I gave up on that for a long time ago, but I found this, and every time my mind gets so guilty, I say I should have been doing something. My gosh, and losing this time. Now all this is me criticizing myself, and I say what you should be done 1 hour. You are losing your time here, no? Because sometimes I don't watch one, I watch five. So it's 5 hours, no? But I'm overwhelming too with a lot of work I'm doing, studying, and painting, new developing, because I was feeling like exactly like you said, you're unhappy with situation, everything, you're losing time. So I should be using that pity time for doing something. So I found something now, watercolor, and say, wow, I found some. My host said, wow, you're a different person in a month just doing this. Say, because you're creating something new. So we go back on time, because this will never pass from our memories. I was like Mary today. I was gardening. I was dirty from my garden. I stopped everything to come to listen. This wonderful teaching. No, I said to myself, I could you listen and work, no? And I said, no, that is not. I will be take my attention away, but not just be participating, because a lot of this is a very good example as an online center, spiritual center, specific for us, because a lot of time we are here, we are not participating at all. We are just listening, our name is there, but this is a lesson, it's a whole of our year too. Are you participating? Are you taking notes? Are you educating yourself? Are you praying together? No? Because this is a value time to all of us. What we are doing with this specific time. Are you stop to participating with others who are praying? Are you stop with all those? I believe Sunshine, she's a very good teacher, and her students have to be camera on during her class. If I mistake, I don't know if you change, but in the beginning you were like that, no? And because I love it, because it's discipline. We have to collaborate, we have to participate. The mentors, the spirits, Jesus took his time to come to earth to teach us materially in the physical world. Who is speaking is dedicating a time to teach, bringing and sharing this lesson with us. And we are here, we have to be camera on, or we have to sit and take notes and contribute with this time. What this time is doing to us is very important. I really appreciate the teachings. I think it's a lot to meditating and to educating our own self as a spiritist. Thanks so very much, sweetheart. You always help us. And you are part of this. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Yuri, I appreciate the presentation. During the presentation, I had this glimpse of an interesting perspective I want to share with you all. The comparison or the chronological analogy, the chronological process of time, made me reflect that lower forms, primitive forms, takes a really much longer time to evolve to go to the next level. So how long does it take for the mineral to reach the level of vegetable, of plants? And how long does plants takes to get the level of animals? And animals, how long does it take to get it the level of humanity? So that's interesting because I believe that as you continue to evolve, your time goes faster or your progression goes faster because you have a conscious awareness to make that decision to not waste your time on something that is useless. For example, on the parable of the talents, the servant that had the most coins, that received the most coins to produce, he looks like he was more advanced than the other two. So the one that only spent is still attached to the fear of losing money. Of no, it signifies that person is still very young on this evolution, does not have the faith as the third person has. So I don't know if you guys can see what interesting. For example, Martha and Mary. So Martha was probably more advanced than Mary in terms of spiritual evolution because she was aware, okay, I gotta pay attention to this. This is more valuable. And I guess so we all go into this process. And I know that we are, because we are here, that means that we have not mastered time yet. That's obvious that I'm guilty of that. And I know that we all can share this piece. Because in our modern life, we spend a lot of time paying attention to the money-making schemes, to the possessions, to the competition, to the career ladder progression, and that is something that distracts us from what's really important. Until we get that point where, okay, I am like, well, I'm not even comparing myself to Sheikh Xavier because Sheikh Xavier only had 2 hours of sleep a day. He was always planning something new. He clearly gave us this lesson that time is important not to be wasted. But I'm not equipped to be like Chico yet, so I have to wait for more time. But anyways, that's the different perspective that your presentation shared a glimpse to me. So thank you for the presentation. That's another thing that I learned. Thank you.
Can you have her hand up?
Can.
Yep,
You're muted.
you're on mute. Yeah. There you go.
Well, I could say something. First of all, this is very interesting. Second of all, I'd like to tie in the presentation with something that Regina said and what Tanya said. Gina said there's always somebody, there's always a witness. Sometimes we may not be aware of who that witness might be, but when we're basically trying to keep time or do multiple things at one time. And then when Tanya started speaking about how she was watching this program and it was taking her time away, and I'm thinking, oh, that's okay. You know, sometimes you can have some time for yourself. And she said, not 1 hour, 5. I found myself laughing because I thought that was so funny. I mean, I even wanted to defend her when she said 5. It kind of reminded me sometimes I'll get on a program like that too. So anyway, I enjoyed your presentation a lot. Thank you so much. It certainly makes us all far more conscious of time. And even what Charles just said too, he's comparing himself to Chico. You know, it really gives you a different viewpoint. Thank you guys for all this.
Thank you, Ken. All right, everyone. So thank you so much once again, Yuri, for coming, for sharing, for feeding us so much for us to think, to reflect, and to decide what to do with our time. We will take a 2 minutes break and then we will come back for the meditation. Hope you all have your bottle of water with you, and we'll be back in a minute. Thank you all.
I do need to leave, guys, so I'm just gonna say
Oh,
thank you, everybody.
thank
It's always good. Kiki will be in touch for the next one, a couple of months.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
It's always great to be here. I'm glad you guys found it valuable. It's not for anybody to feel guilty in a bad way. It's to feel conscious. I like that.
No, it's helping us to
so
going
feel
back to the
conscious.
narrow path.
And remembering too, we need rest. Even Joanna DeAngelo says, the spirit says we need rest from work. So, but this how we're resting. Even when we're resting, how are we resting? So, make good use of the rest time as well.
Don't rest too long.
Bye, guys.
thank
Have
you
a
so
great
much, brother.
Bye.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, it's a good lesson, very good lesson. And I participate in